Welcome to the Stigma on Suicide is Over episode in the Support Over Suicide series, Proactive Pathways to Prevention. Hi, I'm your author and facilitator, the altruistic educator, Mario McDonough from Star Education. If this subject is close to home and your heart, please watch the Support Over Suicide Stance on Suicide episode first to help build your resilience and resolve and be empowered to tackle this subject. Follow the link to our website if suicide ideation is troubling you and find support. For too long, the suicide constant has been compounded and allowed to hide in a veil of stigma, fear, guilt, shame, secrecy and silence. To change a constant in an equation, you have to change the variables. We change these variables of stigma, fear, guilt, shame, secrecy and silence to knowledge, transparency, compassion and support to solve the suicide equation. In this episode, we are sharing our knowledge to break a societal norm and conditioning, the stigma on suicide. This vital step empowers people and educates them to know it is safe to talk about suicide. Stigma has prevented good people from providing support, but now together we can make a difference. Stigma affects those suffering suicide ideation from seeking assistance also. Our systems and protocols in the Support Over Suicide program stop societal conditioning, enabling guidance and support to be provided compassionately. First, let us take one step together, the step to break the stigma on suicide. Together, we can be united and make a difference. So what is stigma? Stigma is a negative social attitude or point of view associated to a situation, belief, action, or individual which causes discrimination and exclusion. Stigma is caused by fear of the unknown, outdated views, misinformation, prejudice, ignorance, biased opinion, and a lack of education. Cultural beliefs may play a significant part. Let us start a new tradition and create a caring culture based on knowledge, transparency, compassion, and support. This old, outdated constant on suicide ideation compounds the variables of guilt, fear, shame, secrecy, and silence. It is time to take a stance, the Support Over Suicide stance. Support Over Suicide breaks the stigma to enable assistance by educating society to know it is safe to start the conversation, offer help, and guide someone in need to support, and allows those dealing with suicide ideation to know compassionate, genuine support is available. By changing the variables of stigma, guilt, fear, shame, secrecy, and silence to knowledge, transparency, compassion, and support, we create a new constant to solve the suicide equation. This subject needs to be talked about openly and made a regular part of general discussions on mental health and well-being. Breaking the stigma on suicide. It is safe to talk about suicide. We need to have the conversation. It is not a taboo subject. Talking it through does not compound the issue of someone's thoughts. Mentioning suicide does not put someone at further risk of suicide. Talking about suicide does not plant the seed for someone to suicide. We need to remove embarrassment and fear around the subject to feel comfortable in asking the question, are you thinking about suicide? It is not rude to broach the subject. It is not an invasion of space, privacy, or too personal a question. Guilt needs to be replaced with empowerment and solidarity. Shame and silence are reversed with compassion and support. Fear of persecution needs to be removed. This includes when the need to inform others of a critical situation is identified. Assistance and support outweigh misconceived ideas on identifying issues, being uncomfortable, or placing someone on the spot or in trouble. The topic can be discussed respectfully. Making suicide a safe topic of conversation breaks the cycle of stigma. Stigma is felt by those suffering suicide ideation, preventing them from seeking assistance or from those wanting to help. We cover factors preventing assistance in the Support Over Suicide program. Take the support over suicide stance to break suicide stigma and solve the suicide equation. Just by knowing the stigma on suicide is over and sharing within your community, we can help people obtain help. There are 24/7 support services listed on our Star Education website. Stigma is one of the biggest hurdles to overcome in the suicide equation. You can start making a difference by liking and sharing this complimentary course with your loved ones, family, friends, and colleagues. If we all share this with 10 people to the power of 10, we can make sure the stigma on suicide is over globally. I personally thank you in advance for liking and sharing this course. You are making a difference in your community. Please enjoy the series and help change lives for the better. Thank you for watching this episode, The Stigma on Suicide is Over, in the Support Over Suicide series, Proactive Pathways to Prevention. Together we can make a difference. From Star Education.